Hi everybody, this is Yogesh Chabria. I'm the founder of the Happy on Air Way, and it's a real pleasure, it's a delight being here. I'm a part of DLC's Mumbai chapter. Firstly, I should really compliment and congratulate everybody at Della Leaders Club, Mr. Jimmy Mistry and his entire team. I think it's amazing what they have done, and the whole concept came up during the pandemic, so really kudos to them. Today's session, what I'm going to be sharing, a lot of times people meet me and they ask me, Yogesh, how do we be happy? How can we tap into the power of happiness? And I'll share with you a small formula or a mantra on how happiness can drive every area of your life. It's very simple, actually. All you need to do is implement it. I think many times things are simple, people just don't implement it. So take a pen and paper wherever you are, and you could note down this formula or this mantra. The first part is, the first letter I want you to write is D. And what does D stand for? D stands for devotion. I believe everything, if you do it with devotion, you'll get a different result. I'll share a small story to make this simpler. Once a man was walking, and he was just walking, and he saw a group of people who were working in the hot sun, laborers working in the hot sun. They were building a temple. So this man is walking, and he asks the first man, what are you doing? And this man looks at him very angrily, and he says, can't you see? I'm breaking stone. He says, okay, you're breaking stone. And he walks ahead. He asks the second man the same question, what are you doing? So this man looks at him, sweat is dripping down. He says, I'm earning my bread. I'm making money so I can buy food. And he walks a little further. There's a third guy working, asks him the same question, what are you doing? And this guy doing the same task, but he has this beautiful smile on his face. He's also sweating. And he says, I'm creating a beautiful monument. Even after 100 years, when people walk past here, they'll see this beautiful monument. They'll see this beautiful temple. And what this shows us, all of us are given certain tasks. We do certain things. It is the perspective with which you do it. Everybody has to do certain things. But if you do the same thing, with this sense of devotion, with this sense of worship, everything becomes meditative. So anything you're doing, whatever you're doing, look at it as a beautiful experience. All those three guys were doing exactly the same thing. But the experience of the third guy would have been very different from the first guy. So if you really want to live life fully, if you really want to be happy, the first thing is bring in devotion, a sense of devotion to everything you do. It will change everything. That's the first D. The next is O. So what is O? O refers to ownership. I believe if you do everything with a sense of ownership, it changes everything. I'll share a small story with you. I was 16 years old, and I remember I used to love trying out things. And growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. I took up this job wherein all I was supposed to do is stand in front of the car. So there was a new car being launched. It was the Ford Endeavor back in those days. And all I had to do was just stand in front of the car and show people the car, nothing else. It was a nice SUV, and give people around. I remember some people came, and I was sitting with them. They were test driving the car, and these people liked the car. So they said, can you help us buy the car? I said, we are not selling the car, but let me help you. So I called the guy in sales, and I ended up selling 2 cars. Now, a lot of people around me told me, Yogesh, why did you sell these 2 cars? You're not going to make any additional money. All you have to do is stand here. You're going to get 1,000 rupees a day. That's it. But I said, I consider Ford my own company. I look at it, I'm the owner of the company. And if somebody wants this beautiful car, I have to help them out. And this sense of ownership really drives me. Even today, when I'm at DLC, I consider myself the owner. So I would want to give it the best. If you bring this sense of ownership, whether you go to a hotel, whether you work in a company, whether you go anywhere, it will change your mindset. And when you bring in this sense of ownership, you also feel a sense of joy. You feel a sense of happiness. So that's the second O. The next thing I want you to write down is I. What does I stand for? I stands for initiative. And every time you take initiative, you really learn, you really grow. And that's what life is about. Because if you're not learning, if you're not growing, you are stagnant, and you don't feel the sense of joy. And I'll share a case study there was a company in Europe, a European manufacturer of shoes. They had this marketing guy. They said, why don't you go to India and check out the market? How's the market? So their guy comes to India. He goes around. He spends time in India. goes back to Europe. So his boss asks him, how was the Indian market? What did you find? He says, the Indian market, isn't really that good because very few people wear shoes there. Most of the guys wear chappals, they wear slippers. So not much hope, why should we go to the Indian market? At the same time, in companies, they have this intelligence wing. You're always keeping a watch on your competitors. So there was another competitor, and they found out this guy had gone to India. He was also in marketing. So that guy went to his boss. He says, this guy went to India. Let me also go to India and see. The boss said, okay, go and explore it. Maybe we make good business in India. So that guy comes to India. He goes around. He meets the people. He interacts. He really feels what India is about. And he goes back. And his boss asks him, how is the Indian market? He says, the Indian market is great because nobody wears shoes in India. So the boss says, what do you mean? He says, nobody wears shoes in India. That means there's a huge potential. We can educate them about the advantages of shoes, how our shoes are comfortable, how they are secure, how your feet will be nice. Most people today think that company is Indian. Now that company is Bata. Bata is a European company, but they came to India, they set up business, and they're doing pretty well. So that is every time you take initiative, it changes things, The same thing. So both these guys saw the same thing. People in India are not wearing shoes, but they had a different perspective. So always take initiative because when you take initiative, it really changes a lot of things. The next thing, so the first was D, second was O, third was I, and the fourth is T. Now, what does T stand for? T stands for team. Togetherness, a sense of togetherness. I believe we can't do anything without a team, without a group of people. Even this video is coming to you. There's so many people involved. There are people who are behind the camera, the lights, all the beautiful people who come together to make something happen. The secret of man's success is our ability to work together. Around a month ago, I had gone to the jungles. I love going to the jungles. So I'd gone to a national park called the Gorumara National Park. It is in Bengal, in the north of Bengal. We had gone to a remote part of the jungle where there was absolutely nobody. So we had gone at around 5 in the morning. There are no cars, there are no jeeps, there's nobody. And all there was there were 2 elephants. So we sat on the elephant and they put this sort of cloth so you can actually feel the elephant. And when we were in the jungle, when I was walking in the vast jungle, everywhere I can see is vastness. There's no technology, there's no phone, there's nothing. I realized that 50,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, this is how mankind was. This is how we were. We were a tribe of people, 50 people, 100 people in the jungle. And how helpless mankind is, how helpless we are. We are not the strongest. We don't have the sharpest teeth. We don't run the fastest. A lion can pounce on us. A wild bison can run us over. A snake can bite us. So what got us from there, where we are completely helpless to here today? And one of the key things is our ability to work together, our ability to collaborate. We have built on the knowledge of our ancestors. Some guy came up with fire. Somebody came up with electricity. Somebody came up with, planes, so many things, the internet, and we keep building on that. And we should never forget that, So even though we might feel like competing, we all compete, the essence of mankind, the essence of growth is the ability to work together, to collaborate, and really take the human race forward. I'm sure in the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years, we will become an interplanetary species. We'll go to Mars, we'll go to Jupiter, we'll explore other galaxies. And that is why it's always important to take people with you together. That's why that's the T. So it's D-O-I-T. The next thing is, how many times have you heard the word no? I'm sure everybody who's human has heard the word no sometime or the other. The next time you hear somebody tells you no, to anything, to your business, to anything you hear the word no, I would like you to convert that to a now. How do you convert a no to a now? It's very simple. You simply add a W. And what is a W? When you add W to no, it becomes now. What is a W? It's a winning mindset. A lot of times, it's not the external, it's the internal. I'll share a small story with you to help you understand how this works. There was a gentleman called Viktor Frankl. He was a psychologist, and he was there during Nazi-era Germany. And one fine day, he gets picked up by the Nazis, and they take everything from him. He just has a small notebook, in which he's got all his life's work. And he tells those guys, you can take everything, take my money, take everything. Please don't take this notebook. It's got my life's work. But they take it. They toss it in the fire, and they take him to a concentration camp. They strip him naked, remove all his clothes, shave his hair off, spray him with cold water because they want to break his earlier identity. And they give him concentration camp clothes. And in concentration camp, life is tough, He watches his loved ones being tortured. He's beaten up. He barely gets 2 or 3 hours sleep a day. But in this surrounding, he has a mental realization. And what is the mental realization he has? He realizes that these guys have no control over my mind. I'm free to think whatever I want. They can beat me, they can keep me locked in, but I have absolute freedom over what I think. And he started creating a mental image, a vision for himself. That's why it's very important to have a vision. And the vision he created for himself is he visualized that he's out of the concentration camp. He's gone to, he's sharing his message with the world. He's written some books, and he's just sharing his realization with the world. And in the concentration camp, he also realized you could make out when a man is going to die. By man, I mean man, woman, anybody. And it's when they don't have something to look forward to. So you can make out in their body language. You can find out, their shoulders start drooping, their head starts going down. And within 1 week, 10 days, they die because they don't have a higher purpose. They don't have something greater to live up to. So your higher purpose could be anything. For somebody, it might be a lover. For somebody, it might be sharing a message. For somebody, it might be a business. That's why it's very important to have a higher purpose in life. It really drives you. Today, we don't have a lot of time, but some other time I'll share on that. So he created this vision where he's going out. And I believe when you create a vision, there's a part of your brain called the RAS, which is called the reticular activating system, which drives you towards what you want. So he wanted to get out. He put this in his head. He wanted to get out. And one fine day, he got an opportunity. And what was the opportunity? You get opportunities when you look for them. So what was the opportunity he got? He saw that dead bodies are being thrown out. Dead bodies, people who have died in the concentration camp, are being thrown out. So he stripped himself naked, went and lied under the dead bodies and pretended to be dead. He pretended to be dead. The smell of death is there, but he has a greater vision. And he lies outside. Imagine how tough it is. Very tough. He lies outside, waits for these guys to go. As soon as these guards go away, he comes out, he escapes. Somebody gives him a lift. He escapes the border, and he shares his story. And I would recommend all of you to check out this book, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And it shows us it's not the external that defines our happiness. The situations on the outside could be so many. It is how you perceive them. And if you connect all these, the formula which we shared from the beginning, DOITNOW, it becomes do it now. I believe many times we're just in our head, we are thinking, what will this person think? Our fears, our inner fears hold us back. But once you have the psychology of do it now, life changes, everything becomes beautiful. So anytime an opportunity comes to you, anytime you think, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Go and do it now, because what's the worst that will happen? At most, you will fail. At most, you will lose a little money. But at the end of the day, you'll have a beautiful experience. I believe life is an adventure, and you should live it, live every moment. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure interacting with all of you. You could reach out to me. We have a lot of programs on the Happy on Air way, so you could check it out. Thank you very much. Hope to seeing all of you soon as a part of DLC. Take care, best of luck, and thank you very much.